It's a singles Cofagrigus. I gotta watch this battle. Now, the thing about Cofagrigus is the title of this video threw me off. It's called Cofagrigus Tricks. Now, I get to see some tricky stuff with Cofagrigus because it does have the ally switch, and that only works in doubles. So singles Cofagrigus gets a little bit more interesting as just like a pure filth tank of filthiness, and we're going to see how it plays. So, opponent led with Cast Form, swapped it out, goes into the Sableye, and Cofagrigus gets a free Will-O-Wisp off that before Sableye has a chance to Mega Evolve, if it is Mega. Like, this is the one thing you don't want, but that's why Cofagrigus is strong. You can set up a lot of that status right there, and then it can just burn Hex, and then everything dies. Also does have just some weird things that does. I'm excited to see where this battle goes. So that's a Protect right there. Going to start getting a little bit of burn damage onto the Sableye, and Sableye just does not want any of that. So Foul Play really isn't going to matter. It's probably not going to do any damage to Cofagrigus either, because Cofagrigus has a huge amount of physical defense, and then Cofagrigus is going to get its Hex on and absolutely ruin that Sableye. Wow. Okay, so I wonder if there's any special attack investment on this thing as we go into the Kecleon. Kecleon's going to throw out the Thief. Protean's going to make it a Dark type, so we're getting Stab into super effective, but this is how tanky Cofagrigus is. That's how tanky Cofagrigus is. And then there goes the Protean ability. So he is stuck on the Dark typing, which does work for him. Steals leftovers. Cofagrigus gets Will-O-Wisp, so now Kecleon's even doing less damage. But again, that was a Stab super effective Dark type move, and it did nothing. Because Cofagrigus is huge on that physical defense. So Cofagrigus just going to... I like it. Like, it's just so basic, you know. Will-O-Wisp, Hex, Protect with the leftovers. You're healing up a little bit. They're also taking damage a little bit. And I guess the last move could be Pain Split, which is problematic against normal-type Pokemon. But Kecleon's not normal type anymore, so you can hit it with the Hex. That's perfect. So there's a Shadow Claw. Still not going to do much. Actually, the Thief is doing more damage because you don't have the Protean on that Shadow Claw. And the Hex, not very effective. Kecleon is a special defense tank, so it's going to be kind of difficult to get over, especially if it does have the Assault Vest. But overall, a couple turns and the Kecleon will go down. So there's the Thief. There we go, going back into doing more damage right there. It is unfortunate that the Thief was able to steal... Well, actually, no, he doesn't have the Assault Vest because he stole leftovers. Whoa, Calm Mind on the Cofagrigus. So I guess full defensive investment, little bit of hit points or something, and then you just like make it work. So that's crazy right there. And then all of your sustain is off of the Protect leftovers while you're just trying to get as tanky as possible. I mean, it works. Like, Cofagrigus isn't taking much damage right now, and after you get the burn, it's really all on those Calm Minds to take even less damage. And it's very straightforward. Like, the burn's going to take out some opponents. You're going to get the Hex in. It'll wipe out an opponent pretty effectively. So that's really nice. And there's the Thief. So doing little damage to the Cofagrigus, more Calm Minds, just setting up. But we already saw the other Pokemon, and unless Cast Form actually turns itself into like a typing from a weather effect, Cofagrigus isn't going to be able to do anything to Cast Form, so just kind of using the burn, going through the Protect, the leftovers on the Kecleon actually making it survive a lot longer, because now it's only losing a 16th of its hit points every turn instead of an 1/8. And Cofagrigus is just going to have to work over this, so I'm wondering how that's going to work. Alright, that's right, you can still use the Hex. So powering up the Calm Minds for enough Hex. Hex will finish off the Kecleon at this point. And it's very unfortunate to lose the leftovers right there. But I'm wondering if you just throw out the Hex in anticipation of a move like this. So there's the Sunny Day right there. Will-O-Wisp isn't going to affect it. So yeah, I would just throw out the straight Hex because of shenanigans like this. So there's Will-O-Wisp. Fire type is going to avoid, but then it's a fire type, so it shouldn't affect it. After that Sunny Day setup, I believe. Cofagrigus is going to Protect. There's a Weather Ball, which is something to worry about. But with the Calm Mind, things are going to get really interesting. So Weather Ball from the Cast Form, decent damage. Will-O-Wisp does not affect the opposing Cast Form, and that is going to be another Weather Ball. So you could have had 2 Hex in that time and maybe get enough to take it down, especially after the Calm Minds. But that's just live and learn. You don't see Cast Form that often, so you can't be faulted for playing poorly against it. And Togekiss comes out with the Air Slash. Wow, the hacks, and then he switches it up to the Hail. I have never seen anything like this before. I'm speechless at what the opponent is pulling. The opponent needs to be on Fan Fridays. No disrespect, but what he's doing is he's running different setups for different moves. So the Weather Ball is now fire and ice, and now the Weather Ball is going to hit that super effective onto the Togekiss with stab, with hail, with all kinds of like super boosted damage and decent base powers. So Togekiss will eat that one up pretty hard, and then Air Slash once again from Togekiss. So that unfortunately will be the end of Cast Form. Like, Cast Form is too frail. If Cast Form had a Mega or an Evolution or something that functioned similarly, we would be in a different scenario, because it would have been tanky enough to survive, successfully get the switch, get the big amounts of damage, and crazy stuff. Now, we do have one more battle with the Cofagrigus, and let's get into that one. But wow, that Cast Form has totally thrown me. And it's another 3v3 on the battle spot, so let's see what Cofagrigus gets accomplished against the Klefki. That could be kind of difficult because Klefki is a very annoying prankster Pokemon, has some shutdown opportunities on setup Pokemon like the Cofagrigus, so it's pretty much burn Klefki, go for a couple Calm Minds, hope the Hex really works out. Never mind, the Klefki is actually looking to not be much of a threat, mostly because of that Light Screen. Like, it's just going to be a sacrifice Klefki. Light Screen, Reflect, maybe some swag play, maybe just Thunder Wave swagger. It's not going to be full on hack, so it's throwing out the Thunder Wave right now. Cofagrigus doesn't care about being much slower, so that's not the worst thing that could happen. And Cofagrigus going to go for the Calm Mind. So yeah, getting the most damage out of it. Klefki does not want to be burned at all. The Hex will still get some decent damage. It will be mitigated by the Light Screen, so we're in an interesting position right now. As the burn does tick away on the Klefki. Going to withdraw Klefki, and that's why I didn't see it being too ridiculous. So that's going to be Cloyster as the Calm Mind comes in, and you just want to Will-O-Wisp it. So let's go Shell Smash, you Will-O-Wisp. It loses all the damage boosted on the Shell Smash, or +1 on the Calm Mind, and then it breaks the Focus Sash by doing that. So all Cofagrigus has to do is survive, and that's not a problem at all because a +0 effective Cloyster isn't going to be doing a lot to a full defensive tank. And if it is a special attacker, well, we already have the +2 on the Calm Mind, so that balances out. And Cofagrigus is in it to win it right now. Cloyster has no special defense whatsoever. It's going to get one shot. It has to get one shot. So there's a Protect on the Cofagrigus. Going to get a little bit extra out of this burn. I wonder if that's actually going to screw up the Cofagrigus. So he gets a Scout. It is the Icicle Spear, so no damage right there. I'm just expecting Cofagrigus to be paralyzed for no reason. And there it is. So that's a critical hit as well. And that's the damage that we get to expect out of the Cloyster on the Cofagrigus. Not even a 2-shot with that Will-O-Wisp. But if the Will-O-Wisp didn't land or something, still would only be, you know, it would still be a 2-hit KO. So Cofagrigus would have the opportunity. Hex will absolutely take it down. And then we get a free turn of leftovers. So then we protect, get an extra leftovers, set up something else. If it is the Klefki, we could go for a Calm Mind into stuff. And the opponent is going to bring out the Gengar. So Gengar, bit of a threat. Looks like the opponent thought that they could set up against Cofagrigus, KO the Cofagrigus, and then Snowball. But at the +2, the Shadow Ball might not be too insane against Cofagrigus with this Gengar as well. So there's a Shadow Ball. And that's interesting. So Special Defense Drop will undo all of the work. Oh man, if it wasn't for that Special Defense Drop, Cofagrigus would have been able to like leftovers protect, survive, get the Hex, KO the Gengar, and then actually play through. But the opponent getting really lucky right there and kind of changing up what could happen. Light Screen did wear off, so even with that Light Screen, Cloyster has nothing. So there's a Protect, there's a Shadow Ball. Cofagrigus is going to protect itself. And gaining some health back. So no paralysis, fortunately, for the Cofagrigus so far. And now we just get to watch what happens. So there's the Shadow Ball. Could have worked. And I mean, that's just a testament to how good Cofagrigus works out. But I mean, now Gengar's burned. If it had Focus Sash, that's removed. Klefki also burns. I mean, the whole opponent's team is burned. You can stall them out at this point, or you can just kind of pick away at them. And that's what the Greninja's for. So Greninja, opponent's going withdraw. Does not want to eat a Dark Pulse. Does not want to eat anything like that. But Klefki's only so tanky. So, that's actually going to really suck for the Greninja, because if it's paralyzed, Gengar outspeeds, and that's something to deal with right there. And Greninja doesn't have too many options for the Klefki. Like, Scald into Burn is, like, its best thing that it can do. What is up with all the Protect on this team? That's awesome. So, normal typing on the Greninja would actually mess the opponent up. Like, that Gengar, if Greninja does get paralyzed, you could go for the Protect, set to normal type, Gengar can't Shadow Ball you, and then you could turn it around with some damage later. So Greninja's paralyzed. It doesn't get to move this turn. Finally get paralysis in there, so it's kind of fair. And Klefki going down to almost exclusively burn. But I have not seen Protect on a Greninja ever. That you need this Pokemon have insane coverage. But the Protect is kind of doing enough right here. There's Scald on the Greninja. It gets transformed to Water type. Klefki's going down no matter what. Even with that Light Screen, that won't KO, but the burn will finish off the Klefki. And now I want to see that Protect play. I want to see it so bad, because that would be hilarious to watch. Scald's up right now. Greninja goes for the Protect. And now Gengar... well, like, Protecting will work for this turn either way. I guess Gengar can still Sludge Bomb, so I mean, in theory, it was really cool. So Gengar's going to protect against... Or Greninja's going to protect against that either way. There's a Sludge Bomb. Sludge Bomb isn't going to be the worst thing for Greninja. Into the Dark Pulse. And then that's going to be a KO onto the Greninja. Or onto the Gengar from the Greninja. I got a little carried away with that play. I thought it would be more cool, like to have something that transforms you to normal type under priority while Gengar attacks. Either way, bot time. Gengar couldn't survive with that Light Screen. It was burned. And Greninja, you know, Greninja's kind of like Gengar. That you need to hit super effective hits, or you need to hit like super hard hits, and the neutral Sludge Bomb isn't enough for frail Pokemon like Greninja even. So that's what we're looking at. Fun matches. The Cofagrigus did work. I think the first battle could have gone a little better. The second battle would have been an like, Cofagrigus had an opportunity to sweep in both these battles, which is really cool to think about. And that's how amazing of a Pokemon is. I think it's really tanky. I like the setup, the Protect, a little bit of that sustain tech, a little bit of burn damage, and it works out. So if you guys enjoy the video, get ready for some more Fan Fridays coming up next. Have fun, hype stuff.